I'm Basia Sokolowska, taking you through my creative alphabet. This is the 49th video, the second last video of the series of 50 short episodes where I talk about my art making, my creative process, inspirations, places, people, methods, ideas behind my art. Today's video is about Wozownia Art Gallery. It's a city art gallery in Torun, a beautiful medieval town located in the middle of Poland, where I exhibited between 2010 and 2020. I presented my works there 4 times. There were 2 exhibitions which were particularly important for me. The first one in 2010, it was the natural phenomenon. There is an episode of my creative alphabet about this. This exhibition was very important for me because it allowed me to revise and gain a new perspective on my earlier work, artworks made between 2000 and 2009. So it was a very sort of productive exhibition in terms of closing that period and looking at it from a different perspective and learning from it. My second exhibition in 2020 was the Homage exhibition. The Homage project is really the theme around which all these videos of my creative alphabet are woven. This exhibition, dedicated to 4 artists and inspired by 4 artists who informed my practice, was accompanied by the glossary of terms referring to these artists and my work around them, and also other important aspects of the Homage project, the 10-year project. It's this glossary that is the basis of my creative alphabet series of videos. So without that exhibition in Wozownia Art Gallery and the publication, that series wouldn't have happened. Wozownia Art Gallery is a very challenging place, but also a very nurturing place. Nurturing in a way that the director, Anna Jackowska, is great to work with artists. She has a very balanced and very intuitive way of being very open and supportive of creative idea, and very nurturing, as it has been the case with me and also other artists, but also keeping a very vigilant eye on how this creative process and the resulting artworks translate into an exhibition in this beautiful heritage carriage house where the exhibition is located. Like all heritage buildings, there is a challenge written into them if you want to make them do things other than their original function. Anna Jackowska was also a very important person in my work on the Homage project, which was a 10-year project, a long-term project, where a lot of other things happened, and it was very good for me to have someone who knew my earlier work quite well, and who was very kind of good at giving me feedback about my work on the Homage project. I don't talk about my art while making it. I usually talk about it when it's finished, exhibited, presented, published, and so on. So it was very good to have that support and that kind of very knowledgeable, very sensitive, very intuitive curator to actually, and a friend to show my works and just see where I was going with it. Exhibiting is a very important final part of making an artwork, of the creative process for me. It's kind of a moment when I release my works to the public, where my own kind of dialogue with the artworks in the making and the process is closed. There's a full stop at the end of this very, very long kind of narrative of ups and downs and meanders of the creative process. So it's a moment when I say goodbye to works. My story ends and other people's story starts. I'm quite happy for the work in my exhibition, the works which I share with the public, to acquire its own meaning and have its own adventures. I don't insist on my interpretation or my reasons for making works of art. I have always, from the very beginning, when I made my Carmen Infinitum series, I've been aware that it's a very good strategy to have, to separate your own story of your own art with other people's stories. That's the way art works. And I think that I try to detach myself and gain a sense of distance, to say, okay, well, it's time for other people to bring their own adventures, their own experience and their own perception into my artworks. And my story is not more important than their stories. And I think art lives on as long as people bring their own stories into artworks. If they stop doing that, the images kind of are no longer important or interesting. So that's what exhibiting is for me. It's actually closing a certain chapter and liberating myself from the process of making them and from the images, to setting themselves free and also setting myself free, so I can get on with other things and they can get on with their own adventures.